And we are live. Awesome. Thanks very much, everyone, for coming through. I guess our plan now is, for those who didn't know, Pete's been with CoinBurp's been going through our accelerator program, Basecamp, and we're just going to talk to Pete a little bit for maybe like 20, 25 minutes, just to find a little bit more about what CoinBurp's doing, how it relates to expanding the NFT marketplace, and just really getting under the hood, really. I strongly encourage people to dump questions in the chat. It's kind of more of an AMA free-for-all, really. Pete's fully prepared and happy to answer nearly any question. We'll kick off, though. Pete, if you could just introduce yourself. I know you've got a couple of slides prepared. Run us through the background of CoinBurp, what you're up to, why it's important, and then we'll do more fireside chat style.
Sure. Yeah, so I guess for you, those of you who've just joined now, so I'm Pete, CEO and co-founder of CoinBurp. We're an existing crypto trading platform based in the UK. But more recently, like Scott said, we joined the guys at OV back in January to go through the accelerator program to build out this new concept. And we're calling it's called like Coinbase for NFTs, right? It's the ability to purchase NFTs with fiat. It's about smoothing out that process, which so many people have trouble with these existing NFTs in Ethereum, as an example, right? The OG of NFTs. It's very difficult for you to explain and teach someone how to download non-custodial wallets and purchase Ethereum and sign up on exchanges before you can even start to think about purchasing an NFT. It's just too tricky. So we're here to be that one-stop shop to smooth out that entire process.
Nice. Like when we originally met, you kind of just like surveyed your existing CoinBurp users who currently basically just trading Bitcoin, doing some interesting stuff here and there, but like not real cutting edge. It'd be great if you could share just a little bit of insight around what they were looking for and how that's panned out into feeding into your products.
Yeah, I mean, our personal view at CoinBurp is, I guess, DeFi generally is the future. It's where we want to be heading to, and it's what we want to be working with in a few years' time. And when we surveyed our existing customer base and asked them just about DeFi generally, right, there was a bunch, I think it was nearly a third of our customers who said that they were interested in DeFi, but they hadn't yet invested. So our question to them was, what's stopping you from getting into the space? And yeah, I guess the top three reasons were it was very difficult UX, private key anxiety was a problem as well. So being told to store your 12-word seed somewhere safe, and if you lose it and you lose your phone, like you've lost access to it. You can't just ring up someone and get recovery to your crypto. That was a bit scary. And yeah, it was that what took us down this journey is that. And I mean, when we talk about the DeFi industry as a whole, I felt with the NFTs, it was becoming more of a buzz, and there was a lot more interest in NFTs. But for us as CoinBurp, right, we're trying to be a bit fun and friendly. I think it's much more on brand for us to initially focus on the NFT space. Whereas a longer term ambition, we want to be the fiat on ramp into everything DeFi. But NFTs was the one we thought was most on point with what we're doing at CoinBurp in a minute.
Gotcha. It'd be great. I think probably just missed up top, just like we understand what CoinBurp is in its current format, but talk us through like the functionality of the wallet, what's actually going on. And also as well, I don't know if you got a link. I'd love to just dump that in the chat.
Sure. Let me share some stuff in the chat so everyone can follow us on Twitter and Telegram and have a look at the app. So what we actually do have at the minute are two apps two apps on Android and two apps on iOS App Store. And one represents the existing business, right? The centralized trading platform where people could deposit fiat or deposit crypto and trade quite easily. We're very much a retail-centric company. We want to get the newcomers into the space, the people who haven't purchased crypto before. And I feel our UX is representative of that. And what you also see in the second app is our DeFi, right? The non-custodial. You look after your private keys and yeah, you have the security on that side. But come June, when we actually launch the full app, there will actually be a merge of the two. So by June time, you'll have this single app which will be able to accomplish both sides. So users can have the flexibility of operating within the custodial, like the insured part of ours, when we have the insured fiat, the insured crypto. Alternatively, if they prefer to have their own private keys and they prefer having the security of their own crypto, then they can just operate in the non-custodial DeFi side of the wallet.
And do you think that, coming back to Seb's point that he made in the previous panel, that the little bit of friction that they do coming in and you making it easy with the custodial stuff, they will then get curious and then move into the non-custodial world, which I think, as we all know, is slightly different in its experiences that it can offer on the internet?
Yeah, so I guess my broad approach is, yeah, we shouldn't have any friction. We want to get people into the space first and then educate them once they're in. It's like, if you could use an analogy, right? Like a school. If you're going to teach someone at school, you want everyone to enter the school first so you could teach them. You wouldn't want to charge a fee or give them an exam before they can even enter, right? The ability to welcome and encourage people in first is super key for mass adoption. And for me, yeah, you hit the nail on the head, right? We want to be able to provide these custodial NFTs where people can just purchase what currently is only accessible via non-custodial wallets and Ethereum. We want to be able to offer that functionality in custodial world. And then as a later term ambition, because I'm a big believer in DeFi and decentralization and true ownership of your assets, right? We want to upsell the benefits of being able to store and hold this stuff yourself, which at that point, we would encourage people to move their NFTs off our custody and into their own non-custodial wallets.
Right. And then are you going to kind of help them once they've moved into the non-custodial? Are you going to help them do things further into the non-custodial world?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what we want to build is functionality into the wider DeFi space entirely, right? We don't want to charge people for just using that portion of it. I mean, we are a company, we have to generate revenue, and that's based on the trade fees. If someone really enjoyed using our app and the integrations that we have into NFTs and into DeFi, if they wanted to use that portion of the app, they can freely deposit ETH and just interact with it because the UX is super clean and cool. So yeah, it's all about the education and teaching people about the benefits of DeFi and NFTs.
Yeah, that's cool, man. On education, it'd be great if we could spend a couple of seconds, maybe minutes. One of my most common questions I get asked about you guys is, why on earth is it called CoinBurp? Like, burp's not real, like super user friendly. Well, I appreciate, but just cover it off, man.
Yeah,
17.
Sure. I mean, it's a bit like Marmite, right? It's something that we thought was quite friendly. I mean, I still like it. It's still quite friendly. There's a lot to play with in terms of branding. Of course, having like the website available and your Telegram chats and stuff was quite important for us. But yeah, it's more representative of ours. Like, I guess I feel like I'm on the next generation of crypto user. I mean, I've been in it 7 years, but and it sounds like not much time, but when you think how long crypto's been around, it's quite a long term in crypto space. But I feel I represent that new generation of new blood that's coming through, not from like traditional finance worlds, but from a very different background. And to be fun and friendly was the reason we went for CoinBurp. So, and I think our logo is quite nice with little burping coins. It's we couldn't have done that with some boring old name.
No, big time, man. One of the things that's super interesting that most people find about CoinBurp, and I guess that most of the team have found interesting working with you guys over the last couple of months, is that CoinBurp itself is like a centralized business, regular equity kind of thing. And then you kind of made the call this time around to like transform into a crypto business. Like, you're looking at pathways to decentralization. I know that there's a potential role of a token in the future. Like, how have you found taking what is like a straightforward centralized exchange style business and then being like, okay, cool, how do we decentralize this, and what that actually meant?
Yeah, I guess it's funny. I think my personality is much more akin to DeFi, but I ended up being in like the CeFi world because that was what existed at the time. So it's a lot of contracts, it's a lot of negotiations, a lot of business in CeFi world. But when you talk about DeFi, it's all about community and really building up that side. So I guess when I went into DeFi, I always had this ambition to really drive home decentralization. It was what got me into Bitcoin in the first place. So when I really had a look at DeFi and the benefits that it could really bring, it was a no-brainer, right? The idea of a decentralized autonomous organization, the token holders being able to govern certain actions, and one of the interesting challenges we want to tackle, right, is DAOs or decentralized autonomous organizations in the centralized world, right? When you have this regulation, when you have much more complicated decisions to be made against DeFi world, where you can vote on a specific proposal, and if it passes, you can make a change to code, and it can be written to code immediately. But if someone wants to introduce like a new concept, let's say add in a new payment off it, like let's say PayPal into centralized world, there's so many steps to get there. So for me, I always wanted a DAO. I always loved the idea of having DAOs govern the centralized and decentralized. And I think for us, it's that interesting challenge of the implementation that we're working and we'll be working on in the next year or two.
There's a question coming from Blake in the chat, which is really around, like, obviously you first did fundraising in 2017. What did you take from that bull run and starting a business in that to essentially relaunching your business in this bull run? Like, what was the things that you've gone, well, that happened then, but like, if we do it differently this time, we'll be better?
Yeah, well, I'll give you a bit of insight about the journey, right? I bootstrapped my first business with £1,000. It was called BitBroker, but it's sort of been swallowed by CoinBurp, which was like a cryptocurrency trading platform on peer-to-peer platforms like, say, local Bitcoins, right? Start off with £1,000 and realize when I buy it wholesale and sell to retail, I realize there's a small markup. You can make 1 or 2%, right? And I had just thinking, right, what if I had not unlimited cash, but if I had a lot more money, how could we spin this up? What was the ceiling point where the market was big enough to satisfy the amount of orders I could take? Because when you talk about £1,000 that goes on local Bitcoins, it goes in about 20 minutes, right? And then the circulation of cash around takes some time. So yeah, started with £1,000 back in 2014. By 2017, made a few million, about 100 million in turnover with that business. And then through all the lessons that I learned interacting with these customers, showing me how difficult it was to get into crypto, I decided to start CoinBurp, right? This super easy, clean UX, easy way to get into crypto. We went for a fundraise back in, time goes so fast now, January 2020, I think, on Crowdcube. I think it's 2020. Where again, we wanted to bring awareness around crypto, and you raised like a couple of 100K on that. And then more recently, yeah, we had the opportunity to work with you guys and join the accelerator. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience. It's exactly where I wanted to take the company. And yeah, I'm really glad we joined and you guys accepted us back in Jan.
I mean, apart from making us feel great, I guess bringing us back, like, what was the main thing that you've done differently this time around? Like in 2018, when you were making things more usable and bringing it in, I guess you're kind of repeating the same playbook on a different asset.
So I guess my high level thinking is you have to build the foundations for the customers to be able to be attracted, right? You want to lay the foundations for the house before you start building vertically. And I feel we got to a point with CoinBurp.com where the foundations were laid, right? We had really simple UX for people to come into the space. The deposit, trade, and withdrawal functionality was really seamless and cool. And now we're seeing the same problem happen, let's say in the NFT space, right? It feels like there's a cycle where NFTs, again, if you are familiar with DeFi and Ethereum and non-custodial wallets, then it's accessible to you. But it's like an echo chamber. Like I'm hearing the same problems in NFT world that I heard when I first began, right? UX is very clunky. I don't understand how to create these wallets. So for me, I just sort of feel like we've gone full circle. But instead of it being specifically on the crypto side, it's now the NFT world. And with all the lessons that I've learned in the past few years, we've built the layers of this foundation, which will enable these super easy transactions with NFTs. Obviously, there is a lot more integration work to be able to do. And but yeah, it's just taking the same principles I had when I began the company and just applying it to NFTs now.
Make it sound really easy.
Well, that's the idea, right?
It's just like, yeah, I did this, then I'm doing it again. It'll be great.
Yeah.
But for anyone looking to, because you guys are currently undergoing like your fundraising process as well, for any other, I guess, early stage sort of founders bootstrapping or looking to do their raises, like, and general go-to-market in this environment, what sort of advice would you give to those founders who are maybe like, yeah, okay, cool, it's definitely a market where I can collect like a bit of money in because it's very easy to raise at the moment, just because of the general bull market. But obviously, like the actual execution of it is kind of slightly different. Like, what would you tell yourself 3 months ago? Is the cliched question, Pete?
Sure. I guess, yeah, just to be completely open, I've never been so inundated with work and trying to wear so many hats as previously. I didn't go through this investor phase. I mean, we've already closed on, say, 2 million in a few weeks. We're going to raise another 3 million in the next few weeks, right, in private rounds. And I guess I got to this point where I started realizing, like, I can't commit the time to be able to do the product, to be able to work with the marketing guys. And it's about understanding your strengths and your weaknesses as well. So don't feel like you can do it all. Don't feel like you're Superman and you can do it, right? The idea is that you hire people who are completely competent, that you don't need to micromanage them. You can trust that they're going to be able to achieve what they need to do. And that's the super key thing for me is, yeah, just be honest. Like, don't be this guy that's going to overwork and burn out by working 14, 15 hours a day. Like there's much better people in this space that can do much better things than me. And it's just being honest and just employing them and working with them collectively.
Nice. So you're not only just all about community, you're about team as well.
Exactly.
Nice one. Nice one. Well, and we're coming up to the end of our time. I guess just final wrap-up notes. Let's get a solid plug-in. How do people get involved with CoinBurp? What's the next things they can do?
Sure. I mean, follow us on Twitter, right? We're at CoinBurp on Twitter, on our Telegram again, CoinBurp. We are raising against our token in private sales at the minute, where we've already closed 2 mil. We're going to raise another 3 mil in the next few weeks. In terms of our public launch, it could be sometime before June when we have the full product out and the token, the Burp token, of course, we're going to call it. It will be out, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, in the meantime, if you want to keep up to date with all the news and all the progression that we're doing here, just go to coinburp.com. Just sign up for an email account. Like, there's nothing more than that, and we'll keep you up to date on everything.
Cool. Product live. People get stuck in. Watch CoinBurp. It's coming for you. All right, folks. Well, I think everyone's moving in now. We're going to go talk about crypto adoption that's happening up in Africa. We've got some excellent panelists coming in on that. I know we've got Sandeep from the Polygon Network, VJ from Inclusion VC, and Yele from Bundle, chaired by Charlotte, and joined by one of our other teams, Ycrypt. So thanks very much, everyone, and hope you enjoy the rest of Diffusion.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Pete.